Well, hello. Thank you very much for staying there. You're listening to Smooth 98.1. It's time for us to get into the world of business here with Rotus. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Valentine. Good
How are you
morning.
feeling this morning, man?
Much more awake than last time.
Was traffic better this morning than yesterday?
Yeah, it was. It was this thing. Monday mornings are just wild, So yes, much better today.
Welcome. Lagos, join this conversation by sending us messages through WhatsApp. That's your comments and observations on the stories. Send it through 0809 444 0981. Or on Twitter, use the hashtag BusinessExpress981.
All right, thank you. I want to welcome 1/3 of the horsemen in the studio. Bolarinwa, good morning to you.
Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Rotus.
All right. So real quick, won't spend too much time on the markets. Actually, the markets dipped yesterday, fell into the red zone, 0.26%, were 31,344 points. MPF Microfinance Bank was our top gainer yesterday. Our top loser, I believe, was Burger Paints. They fell by 9.6%. Let's hop into budget matters, but we're not going to be talking about budget matters at the federal level. Talking about budget matters at the state level, particularly Lagos states. There was some breaking news yesterday evening regarding lawmakers in the Lagos State House of Assembly talking about impeachment proceedings against Mr. Akuyomi Ambode. Can you give us some details as to what's going on? Because the Totas Fair and the Lagos Fair went very wild yesterday. What's I trust they'll be discussing it on Freshly Pressed in detail.
You bet.
What's on what budget matter are they talking about here?
Well, the 2019 budget.
Okay.
So the allegation against the governor is that the budget hasn't been passed and spending has commenced.
So spending has started, but the budget has not been passed.
And which actually contravenes the provision of the Constitution.
Okay.
Now, I think that the discussion on this program is not the political sphere of this conversation. I think that we'll leave that to
Freshly Pressed.
Don't worry, we'll do a good job on that.
But really, if you look at Lagos State, is the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Right.
This is a state that has remained under the leadership of a single party, as it were, since we started democracy in 1999.
Right.
And one thing that you expect that brings is stability, consistency. Lagos State, if Lagos State were to be a country, to be the fifth, sixth largest economy in Africa.
Right.
And in terms of, even if you see the trend of investment inflows into the country, Lagos State has accounted over time for over 90% of the inflow of investment. And so, in terms of how the importance of the state to the Nigerian economy at large is huge.
Okay.
This political game that is ongoing, I don't think is good for the state, because it sends a negative signal. You and I both know what is going on at the federal level.
Right.
The Ulabalu at the federal level is affecting the economy at large. The one in Lagos State now will compound things. Let's say the governor gets impeached. It means that within the next 4 months before they hand over to the new government, whoever wins the election, we are not likely going to have real economic activity coming from the government side.
Right.
Which is the major fear. In 2017 and 2018, the budget, Lagos State had a phenomenal budget of 1 trillion.
Right, 1 trillion. I remember that. Yes.
And what the legislators have said is that the budget that was passed in 2018, they've not even achieved more than 50% performance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and they have started spending money from the new budget that has not been passed.
Interesting.
For me, I think it speaks to integrity, and for investors that deal with the government, it creates some level of uncertainty around that. For businesses that are planned that do government contract and all of those that would have planned their budget in line with the government spending.
Right.
This creates a whole lot of challenge for them in actualizing and implementing the budget for the year 2019. It's going to be really not only going to have political effect on the state, it's also going to have an significant economic effect on the state if they go along those paths.
Right.
Should they impeach the governor? I can't say.
Right.
If he's found wanting, well, maybe he has to go. But it's just us looking beyond the political rhetorics into what economic effect this is going to create for the state. A state as huge as Lagos State in Nigeria.
Thank you for that. The phone line is ringing. Who is calling us at 6? Maybe we should start taking phone calls on Business Central. All right. So, if anyone's interested, I found the Twitter handle for the Lagos State House of Assembly is LSHA official. Everything Bolarinwa has mentioned, they mentioned it here. They were quoting Mr. Mudashiru Obasa, who is the Speaker of the House of the Lagos State House of Assembly, talking about the budget implementations and so on and so forth. So if you want to go there again, it's LSHA official. The Lagos State House of Assembly Twitter handle, where they have a thread talking about these impeachment proceedings because of budget execution against the current governor of the state. All right, Bolarinwa, thank you so much for that. Let's move on to the automotive policy. Still with Lagos, in particular the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. They say they've joined calls with the chorus of voices that have been rising for the automotive policy to be reviewed. This is coming from Mr. Muda Yusuf, the Director General of the LCCI, again, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I was so confused the number of levies and duties on cars coming to this country. My head was spinning this morning. But let's take a look here. What are they asking for as far as the levies and duties are concerned?
Okay, so the request that the SCCI is putting forward before the government at this time is that they want the import levy of 50% on second-hand vehicles brought into the country to be dropped to 15%. This policy came into effect about 5 years ago,
right?
And the whole idea behind it was to encourage local manufacturing of the vehicles, believing that rather than us bringing finished product into the country, why don't we have additional value add? We know Nigeria is a huge market for automobiles, so why are we creating jobs elsewhere when we consume a huge chunk of automobile? Why don't we at least create some value locally and retain some value, and at the end of the day better the lot of Nigerians that by through job creation, taxes to the government, and or other economic activities that are going to happen by having those companies bring in their manufacturing plant to the country. The question now is, have we 5 years after, have we achieved the objective? I think the answer looks more like a no.
Right.
And really, the truth is, for every company, you have a 5-year strategy running. After you've implemented your five-year strategy, you have to go back to the drawing board and rethink, look at your performance over the period and rethink the strategy if it's not working. Because at the end of the day, if the objective has not been achieved, then you need to tinker with some of the parameters that you set initially, which is the idea, which is the suggestion that the LCCI is bringing on the table, that we have not created value by increasing the levy to 50%. Why don't we bring it down and see what other areas that we can tinker with to ensure that we achieve the set out objective.
All right, then let's go over this. So it's currently the import level 50% on new vehicles. The import duty is 20%. The import levy for commercial vehicles is 25%. Import levy for used cars is 25%. So for each one, Lagos, for your 50% for new vehicles, 25% for commercial vehicles, 25% for used cars. You still put another 20% on top of that again, which is where we got that initial 70%.
Yeah, that's why you
mean,
see
it's almost like
cars
buying
are
two cars.
expensive.
I can't.
Cars are expensive.
My car is old though. I mean, wanting to get a new one, I don't think it's gonna happen for me. Come on, what about Innocent? Where is Innocent again? Enugu. That's the only. Although Innocent doesn't really manufacture. It's just parts. I mean, they're still there.
Assembly.
Yeah, the assembly.
They bring in CKD, SKD,
right,
and
then put them together. We should be supporting. We should be having more Innocents.
Yeah, really, one of the points he also made here is that the government also should be consistent.
Right.
So you have a policy in place, ensure that you take the lead. So you have this policy that is trying to promote local patronage, and you go abroad to import cars. So you're setting the wrong tone, and people will follow suit.
Government, buy Innocent, drive around Innocent. Use your 30 car convoy. It should be Innocent cars.
The other brands. But anyway, we have this message in from Inka. Inka says, I thought I was the only one that saw it. This is Nigeria. What goes up hardly ever comes down. How we arrived at a budget of 800 million naira from the previous 1 trillion in a state like Lagos is strange. My only explanation is that the governor is gone and just wants to do what he wants, and which also explains why he never tendered the budget in person, and why strangely he did not attend the Armed Forces Remembrance Day rather focused on the 4+4 campaign. Nigerians. And he went on to say, when I sent him the message about the sitting governor,
to say you're being mischievous.
Now you've seen with your own eyes. So I put it to you again. Please remind me, who is the governor of Lagos State? I'll say we're on autopilot. Come and beat me. I did my house. Where's your address?
Yeah, you can say it. I remember Cheta was saying something like that yesterday. You were challenging him on it, Abi.
Okay. It wasn't yesterday, it was last week.
Last week,
he used the X word. Anyway, Benga Kamo sent this one. It says, when we say government is the greatest impediment to investment, the levies on cars is one area where this is true. If infrastructure is not built, no way can local manufacturing survive.
Benga, it's spot on.
Lawson also says, if this era of FCY demand management, those car tariffs and
coming down. Thank you, Lawson, Yinka, Benga, thank you for that. Quickly now, let's move to housing. I think Valentine, how much time we got? About
2 minutes.
Okay, good. 2 minutes. We move from budgets to automotive policy to housing. The AHCN, the Association of Housing Corporations of Nigeria. Why are you laughing now? I'm even going to the story, Bolarinwa. The president of the Association of Housing Corporations of Nigeria, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, has said that local governments need to be more proactive when it comes to providing housing for people like Valentine, myself, and you, Bolarinwa.
Local government.
He said you look. Oh, I'm laughing, but it's a story. No, but seriously, when you think of local government, what's your thoughts?
I don't even know. I don't even know my local government chairman.
You laugh, but it's
a serious thing.
Situation.
And you look, I'll admit
need
that.
to start finding out who these candidates are.
Right.
Know them now, so you can hold them accountable.
But even me, I don't know my own either. But Bolarinwa, he's saying that they should be more proactive when it comes to like we have a huge housing deficit, not just in Lagos, in Nigeria. And they should be more proactive.
To put numbers to you, statistics says that we have 17 million housing units deficit in the country. In monetary value, if we are going to achieve a turnaround, we need about 6 trillion investment in that space. But the question is directing this to the local government. Have they played their primary roles within under the provision of the constitution? It may be a good thing to have the local government because they are the closest to the people, but the question is, do they have the funding? You know even in Lagos State, the way the local government is constrained when it comes to funding. The funding is controlled at the state level. So if you expect that arm of the government to undertake capital investments like this that the state itself cannot undertake, then it's just making statements that are not realistic.
Christian sent in a message here. It says the car tariff thing is cheap election strategy. Is Ali, who's the customs boss, just realizing the tariffs are high after 4 years?
I beg.
The due process should be followed with investigation of the city governor of Lagos. You should have his day in court. And Agbengakon says local government does not work at all. Just pay salaries at the level. What happens to the rest of the money? Do not ask me. And Inka, time is up.
Thank you all for your messages. I appreciate it. Bolarinwa, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Rotus.
All right.
7:30 will be the time for us to go into details of newspaper stories this morning, including the Lagos State story for the governor and the lawmakers. It will be very interesting. Freshly Pressed 91 at 7:30. Good morning.